All right, so welcome, ladies and gentlemen, here to our first match of the evening. It's OpTic Gaming taking on SK, and OpTic, well, at least for now, they have a new leader at the helm, and it's going to be Jason R. Daze, did you expect this at all?
Yeah, kind of.
Kind of. I mean, I know we had that discussion last week.
They need a ringer, so.
But at IGL, though, that's the kind of interesting part that I think had a lot of people's curiosity.
Yeah, I don't know how high my hopes are with a ringer being the IGL. Is a very odd situation. Nobody's going to be used to anything that he's calling. And it's all just going to be rank S strats, I'm telling you.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to follow up with is, like, you know, in terms of the actual expertise that he brings, like what exactly does Jason R bring to the table? Is it anything special or?
No, it's going to be maybe smoke outside, bomb train smokes, you know, maybe 560 box and kind of work out, or maybe throw those smokes, fake to enter, you know, things like that. Maybe a 2-1-2. You know, default type thing, or 3-1-1 towards Ivy, but it won't be anything crazy. I mean, it's going to be very puggy, and I think it's going to hurt OpTic a lot, because I think one of the situations that we've seen since Stan has left also is that, like, you know, someone like Mixwell just is getting, like, impatient when he plays and things like that, and just always trying to make a play, and it's making, you know, instead of, like, everybody playing within their comfort zones because they know Stan's going to tell them what to do in, like, a lot of these situations, you know, someone like Mixwell or Tarek is just going to get over-aggressive at times, and it's actually going to end up hurting them more than it's going to help them.
Well, OpTic now will start off onto the T side here, which is a side that may not end up going too well for them, unfortunately. Here, we'll have to wait and see. As again, opening up here with what will probably just turn itself into a default split in towards the outer bomb. So they've got the bomb on top of ladder, though, so room for it to kind of in an emergency move divert over towards B as well. But Phelps got hyper-aggressive into the ladder room here. He's already scouting out for intel inside of there in the event that they do drop down and take control. Two more, of the CTs playing over there towards Ivy to hold control of there in the short lane coming out from T-Con, and they are playing two inner currently, but one of them is inside of Z, and he's going to be able to quickly rotate. In the first battle, though, it's actually Naf that'll come out on top against Phelps. The problem is there's a pretty slow follow-up. We can still see some more kills coming out for OpTic, though. Naf picking up a second there against Cold, but Fallen holding at the edge of the green train, picks up an additional one against Mixwell. Unfortunately, can't hold in his own regard here against Tarek, but Fur wrapping back around has picked up Naf and Tarek now, and it's Rush alone in a 1v2, but he gets aggressive from on top of the bomb train. He restricts this down to a 1v1. One more to go. He takes the long-range battle, but he won't be successful. And Taco wins out the final 1v1 and gives SK the pistol.
Yeah, very nice job by Fur there on the rotation from Z. And you see that's something you see on train a lot, is when that rotator comes, if nobody's on his left coming out of Z, he wraps around the bomb train. Look how he goes to his right after he kills Naf. And that's like just, it's a very easy shot. Anybody pushing up towards Hell, they're never looking that way. People coming out of Ivy, you know, pushing towards the bomb train from camera. Like, it's very easy kills, and Fur takes advantage of that.
OpTic now again splitting themselves up into what is probably going to become another default here, as they did not get the plant that time, so they're just forcing into the second round. Tech9's, a couple smokes here and there may try to overwhelm the site to get another plant that they'll be able to use on the actual first round coming up here, but actually winning the round is probably going to prove to be a little bit tough. SK have gone for full SMG investments, only one M4 sitting on Fur there. And the rest playing this pretty slowly, as again, they have pretty much that same split up with just, I think, having Fallen play a bit more aggressively. Phelps still inside of the ladder room here. Good response from Jason R on the drop down to the ladder. And in fact, Mixwell also picks up Fallen there. So actually winning out the initial trade. It's just unfortunate, though, as it now comes the tough part with these long-range push that they have to get over there towards the outer site. They do end up calling it off, and everybody evacuates over here right outside of T-spawn. I think in a moment they're going to re-aggress inside once they get Mixwell into a better position outside of Ivy there.
Setting up some type of a smoke. It's going to be 5-6. I'm not sure what smoke Jason R is throwing. And now, let's see, Mixwell going up Ivy.
T-Con players are also the ones that are extremely low, so this is going to take a minute to see the follow-through. SK did start to back up, expecting there to be an inner hit now, with Coldzera kind of acting as the warning out through Ivy. He's seen it. When he'll get flashed, he'll respond to it with one of his own here, so he's able to safely retreat to the old bomb train, and it buys time for Fur to go. And he actually does get surprised a bit, getting pushed from the middle of the trains there, but at the end of the day, they still have pretty decent control of it, and they went out the round.
Yeah, Fur just all over the place. You know, shooting people in the back there. Gets another 2K, already at 5 frags. OpTic has a nice eco round, though. They definitely had a chance to win that. It's just that they didn't catch anybody at Ivy while they were walking out. So, you know, Cold played it very defensively and then just gave time for Fur to react. Now on a full eco, should be an easy round for SK. But SK's setup is going to change a lot now. You know, I did a video on how Fallen opts outside. as Fur just rushes inner, and Jason R knows that they're doing this.
He actually does manage to dodge away from them here, so now they're just watching out for ladder drops or anything like that. Fur spotted Jason R though, and it's a bit unfortunate because that's the bomb gone down to the ground, and if there was going to be any chance for OpTic, it's pretty much gone away now as SK holds just so much map control. There's really no room for OpTic to move, and they're just hiding, hoping to get a couple frags, I think. I'm just going to knock them out one by one here. Mixwell doesn't get spotted first off. He knows there's a second player somewhere close, but he was hoping that he would go past. Not the case. Now, long range with the Glock. Not really going to pan out, so has to back away awkwardly out of there. In the meantime, though, Tarek was actually able to escape, and I think he's just barely going to get this plant on the ground. Oh, it was like a millisecond away from having it on the ground.
Was. But SK's setup might change a lot now. I almost guarantee they're going to keep the SMG as they usually do in this scenario. But SK's setup might change a lot because now that they have Phelps, FNX usually wasn't like even an E-box or inside ladder or anything like that. He was almost always bomb trained. Right? Now that they have Phelps, Phelps wants to be really aggressive. He wants to be the one up front. He wants to take the first battle. That's going to be a different look because before it was usually Fallen. Fallen would be around Sandwich. He'd be opping team mid, and it's a very different type of look. And now if Phelps is aggressive, we'll see how Fallen plays. If he's going to play more passive or he's going to be aggressive with him. I have no idea. So I'm really curious to see if they're going to change their train setup at all, or if they're going to continue to play, you know, Fallen style like he used to, you know, now that they have Phelps added.
Well, now it's OpTic lined up into the default here. Same as some of these previous rounds. No execution coming yet, but SK still playing aggressively over there towards the drop, towards the ladder drop with Fur sitting on the outside watching for the T-Con cross, and Phelps obviously really close up here. Still with the SMG in hand, so going to be pretty good to play this duel at this range, but now it's OpTic's turn to actually get in here and try to make a fight for this. Even on inner there, they've obviously changed it up now that we're in a gun round. It's only one holding here, but oh, Taco is found out by Naf on a quick peek there. Catches him with a nade in hand, and off of that, they'll get a little bit of an edge to work with. Now they have to capitalize upon it, though, since they'll rotate an additional player. This does leave outside sight. Assuming they still want to follow through with a hit there, a little bit vulnerable. And in fact, Rush picks up another player. They know Cold's hiding in this back tunnel here, so they can just smoke him off. And now they can safely proceed out. Mixwell does trade, or excuse me, Cold does trade on the one, but then he's counter-traded seconds afterwards. Phelps tries the multi-frag from the ladder room, but it does not pan out, so Fallen's alone now in a 1v3 on the inner bomb site.
Yeah, and really to make this round successful, I think if he gets one kill, SK is kind of happy about this result. You know, they kept the majority of their SMGs, so they're not really hurt on their economy. It was just kind of a bonus round if they're able to win it. But if they lose it and they get 3 or more kills and then they win the following round, so it's a really good success for them. Tarek does a good job in the ladder, killing Fallen as he drops down. You know, it's 3-1, but still. SK likes the position they're in. You know, it's a CT-sided map. You got to think they have well over a 50% chance to win this round, and if they do win this round, they're probably going to take a pretty commanding lead.
Well, as the buyouts do come back in now for OpTic, we'll take a look and see if there's any change-up at all from the strat that we've been seeing. For the most part, again, just these default lineups here, and it's not looking like it's going to deviate from that at all, since it worked on the first gunner here, so they may try to work towards something similar to it here. As again, the 2 players split over here towards Ivy, 1 outside of T-Con, and then 2 more probably making noise a little bit towards box halls and inner there, but ultimately probably going to end up dropping in a ladder if they fall through on the usual. SK, back to the same setup here too. Taco holding close up to the ramp over on the inner bomb site, and the rest holding outside pretty deep. Yeah,
and it's just a full default 2-1-2. Worked last round just going for the peaks and whatnot, and now they're going for it again. Now Fallen opping Ivy, I'd be very surprised if Rush didn't hear that scope. But they're just going to hold it, and we'll see if any picks happen like it did the round before.
Currently, again, just really running that timer down before they do move in for the execute, and Fallen just doesn't react at all, unfortunately, to the peek from Mixwell. So he's going to be able to swing out there, and again, they get the opening frag on just a wild peek. It takes out Fallen here, and now they've got a 5v4. Guys over here towards inner or the box halls will maybe make some noise in a moment. And Tarek actually just watching out, but oh, he might get timing really badly here. As we can see Taco moving in, he has the angle and slowly tapping away there, finishing him off with a spray to knock out Tarek. Trade that back out to a 4v4. Still waiting for the actual bomb itself to start moving out here. So SK, they figured out what the plan is. They're going to look to rotate back into this. Fur picking up 2, again, moving around everywhere here. He even takes the battle against Jason R. While he will lose there, Coldzera and Phelps are able to trade out those last 2 frags and pick up the round.
That's one of the things I think Taco is very underrated for. When he has an opportunity, when it's a 4v5 and one of his teammates gets picked off, he's actually the one that might be the most active player on SK, looking for a pick, looking to even it up to make it 4v4, looking to get information. Especially on a map like Overpass, we continually see him if Fallen or Furry gets picked off, he pushes up short B and tries to even it up and get information and kind of save the round. Now, it's 4-1. SK puts him on a save. I thought OpTic would kind of manage their money a little bit differently and be able to buy here, but they just went so hard and, you know, economically speaking, into that last round that they have to be put on a save.
Yeah, so now really not working with any heavy firepower. No utility at all here, so which means they just have to try and take a direct contact out onto this site. And you can see they're trying to sneak up and line up for it here. Rush, once they get up on top of his teammates, they can sort of boost for it, but Jason are already being found.
I thought that was a nade. I was like, this is going to be the most damaging nade I've ever seen.
Just a smoke, however, to start things off. And while I think Rush can sort of see, you can kind of see the outlines of the trains there on the top of the smoke.
You can see.
They will still resolve to end up falling back up on top of the ladder, and I think regrouping with the inner players and the bomb, more importantly, to try and make a push towards this side instead, where SK have already changed up their own dynamic, and they've got 2 players committed to it. Timing on that molly is pretty good, as it is going to delay them even further a bit here, and they've got a smoke to just toss directly down into it. So that'll probably hold them off for a little bit longer. Molly actually, I think, does flood onto the grounds a little bit outside of it there, even though it may have not wanted to go directly on top of that corner. So this will funnel a lot of them out through upper, at least to start here. And Taco once more going up close to take it. The contact, that is. As OpTic again still run this tower down, obviously very close to the site, so they can afford to do that. The main goal here is now finding that plant, but at the moment it's not looking like it is going to happen. Nap tagging onto it there. He does trade the 1 frag, but now when committing to this plant, Fur's going to waltz right up and finish off the job.
Yeah, and that spot's becoming just increasingly, you know, used more and more at upper, where you don't really spot the upper when they're coming out. You kill them when they're coming down, and then if they start pushing up, you can kind of just crouch up onto the you know, wooden spindle there. And it's just a really nice position. The thing about Fur when he shoots is, if you ever notice, he's like really under control when it comes to his bursting a lot of the time. He knows when to spray and he knows when to burst really, really well with that M4.
Control from there at the very end, and Mixwell, all right, just going for it. You talked about how he was going to want to start to make some plays here, and he starts us right off with just an instant ladder drop to take down Fur.
Yeah, and things have been great for OpTic in the starts of rounds, just making it 4v5 and whatnot.
He is going to get forced out, but he still gets an additional kill.
You take that, though, all day. 4v3, a lot of information, and again, though, the counter-aggression on the other side of the map, just to even it up. This last time it was Taco, this round it's Fallen. Just to give them, you know, a pretty good chance of winning this round.
Yeah, the rest of its teammates, again, same as the last round pretty much. Everybody just funneling towards the upper site here and trying to make a push over out on towards B, but nobody checking the back spindles. But nice shot from Tarek. Just as Taco was about to drop back down, he catches his head moments before he went from behind cover again. So now they've got the advantage once more. Rotations are going to be on the way, and they'll be split too, so they will have a little mini flank coming against them as coldzera holds the back calls here. Fallen just going for the direct approach from Z. He's got to be extra cautious with this op in hand too. And again, as he checks around his corners, he'll be clean here. It's not until he actually starts the push back into the site that he's going to actually make contact against these Ts. But flashbangs to start us back off. coldzera is still sitting in those box halls here. Not a whole lot of them actually attempting to go back in, but Cold's going to start us off, it looks like. Making a whole lot of noise there on upper. Sneaks in, finds Jason R. In the meantime, though, Fallen is backed out, so I'm not even sure if they're really going to attempt this, as Cold just hits himself in the face with a nade, and now he's going to pull back to the corner here and look to survive from the explosion. So, all right. He ends up just leaping back in there and killing himself.
Yeah, just a bit of a mistake by Taco. You almost never see him make a mistake like that on the solo site. He jump spotted and he actually saw them there. But, you know, he went for that spindle peek. And I should have added, when you're at that spot and you want to go for that spindle peek, you want to let them know that they could be out upper, and then your Z player to come, and then when they see your Z player and he just shoots, he can just shoot his gun at the wall, it doesn't matter. As long as they're looking there, then when you pop up on the spindle, and you can get pretty easy kills. Otherwise, you kind of wait back, and their heads come up, and it's like a really easy headshot for you if they just keep pushing up, right?
Well, it won't work out for Taco in that round there, as OpTic do get another round onto the board here. Not going to be able to break SK just yet, as they can afford to force into this 8th round here, and it's still pretty much a full buy for everyone too. I think only Phelps had to downgrade to a UMP, and they still have the op on Fallen, M4s for everyone else, and everybody except for Cole has full utility here too. So after this one though, I do fear that they are going to be pretty low on cash, and we'll have to immediately eco there, and that would give OpTic the path to tie this match back up. and give them a route to try and take the lead here too. So once again, slow on the opener and just another default lineup from OpTic, as SK have now switched up to just playing a constant 2 towards inner and only 3 on the outside site.
Yeah, and they have been playing inside ladder room like almost every single round. They're pretty much always there. And Fallen getting aggro on that green train gives him vision of team mid, so Phelps doesn't have to worry about that too much. And it's a different look. It's an entirely different look than how, you know, they used to play train with FNX.
Yeah, now Cold, he's going to be waiting for this one though, but he sprays into the wrong direction there, just right into the middle of it, and misses both of the OpTic players. So Rush is able to move in and punish upon that one. Now Fallen looking to trade for the backside, but he also misses his opening shot. That's going to give him a way to rush. All of a sudden, Phelps has the only presence here in this site. He does hear Terra coming down the ladder there in a last-ditch attempt to pick up a frag, but no! Everyone on SK is coming up flat here. Taco right back in there, and he's close up. This could surprise them now as he gets a first kill, but again, not paying attention to his flank, and that's going to allow Jason R to close out, giving OpTic their third, and now breaking the SK economy.
And OpTic just playing really well right now. I mean, the way they're winning rounds a lot of the time is by like direct contact, but SK is playing in positions where they can allow that to happen. Having said that, you know, walking through the smoke on Cold, you don't see that being successful every day. That usually does not happen. But you know, they're playing inside ladder room almost every single round. You know, Fallen was opping Ivy, he got picked. Taco peeking in and out of the lower ramp, he got picked, and now OpTic just steamrolling outside.
Well, again with these entries, he just rolls right out and gets that instant headshot. Naf and Tarek picking up kills too. They're in demolisher mode as for attempts to Zeus there. I'm sure you saw the light, but no connection. So Cold Zera is just going to be left alive here on top of ladder room, and it should be an easy 4th round for OpTic here.
I mean, I don't think I'm overreacting when I'm saying this, but I think Jason R might be the greatest in-game leader of all time.
Clearly he was the solution.
Wasn't a joke, Blue.
Wasn't?
No. They are nasty.
Just the most underrated mind to ever come to North American Counter-Strike. It's been hiding in his stream all this time.
Yeah.
We finally brought him into the light.
OpTic found a keeper.
All right, so Cold, again, not really going to go hunting too much either here in an attempt to save the Deagle. He swings out, and he is located by Mixwell here. Ultimately, though, Mixwell gets the kill. Not a huge loss for Cold, just goes down there. If he was able to take out one or more of the players from OpTic, would have been great. They're still trying to work on building up this economy, too. It's getting to a pretty good spot already, but now, immediately after that save, SK are right back on the buy. And
a lot of this is coming down to OpTic players kind of just really anticipating how SK is going to play the map. You know, they all know as individuals what SK wants to do, and then as individuals taking it upon themselves to being like, okay, this guy plays like this, I think we could win the round, you know, here, and things of that nature. So Taco gets a little bit aggro inner, just gets naded down huge for almost 50 damage right away. And their buy is not looking great. 2 umps, 3 M4s. And if OpTic can win this round, they're poised for a very good half on this T side of train.
And after using initial smokes, they're already down to just 2 for when the actual take comes in. Only 1 Molotov as well. OpTic, meanwhile, just stacked to the teeth with everything that they would need to try and utilize in this round in terms of utility, using some of their early smokes and mollies now to burn out these aggressive positions that SK might have been choosing to take here in an attempt to upset against OpTic in this round, but won't be finding anyone as, again, it's still into those default playing spots that we've seen SK stick to. Still the constant 2 inner. They have not decided to aggress inside of ladder room this time. They're playing 1 deeper into the Ivy tunnel and 2 closer out towards the actual trains themselves. And of course, you do have Taco, who is already going to take a bit of contact from earlier on in the round there towards ramp, but is still kind of sticking back here at the back of the pot dog while his teammate hides underneath or in between the ladder for upper and the spindles on the site. Finally, though, we'll start to see maybe a little bit of movement here in a second from OpTic. It's a good boost up onto the box to actually attempt to spot Jason R when he swings out from ladder. But Fallen, again, will be first point of contact when they move out over here from Ivy. Takes the duel, unsuccessful in it. The inner hit did fail, though, so they're going to be able to rotate pretty quickly. And Cold from off the top of the box, he'll get 1, but the Naf trades him out from the ladder position. Phelps, a bit of a big spray there, and he runs out of ammo for it, so he'll have to switch back out. And not only do they trade on him, but Fur goes down, too. It's Taco in a 1v2, but he's got a big flank coming. Very low on HP, though. Only 30 to work with. Sneaks in. He's hoping to find Jason R out here too, and that's why he hasn't fired off on him yet. So not going to be able to catch him though. As he does take down Mixwell. That's the first kill. That's the easy one. It's the job of actually hunting down Jason R that's going to be a bit of a task here, as he retreated successfully into the sandwich without being spotted. And now he's just slowly creeping his way forward. And Taco, he might just get... Oh, actually, no. Jason R took a left turn there into the short lane. So once again, he'll have a bit of an advantage unless Taco goes for the check on this at the last second. Sticks onto the defuse. Jason R swinging out. He won't have a lot of time for this kill, but he gets it. And it's OpTic again that went on a big gun round here and put themselves forward on the board now again to tie things up.
Yeah, and Jason R took a very unconventional route. He went and, he wasn't even like really watching the bomb at all. If Taco just defused and locked it, he probably would have won the round. But, obviously, how could Taco know that Jason R would have went all the way towards team mid? One thing, if you ever watch Taco and when he plays inside, whenever he rotates to outer, he almost always goes back lanes. Almost always. And it's pretty, that's like the third place you check. When you take outside as a T, you almost always say ladder flank Z, ladder flank Z. And he gets, and that's one of the reasons he's able to put himself in situations like that, where he can win the round, and where he can clutch, and where he gets a kill, in somebody's back. It's because he goes in those back lanes, and it's kind of like the third thing that you think about.
So off of that one, he almost is able to set himself up for a clutch, but thankfully Jason R comes out on top near the end of it. Fallen, as the CTs try to get a little bit more aggressive here on their eco rounds, attempted to push his way out from Ivy. Unsuccessful there. Taco, though, peeking too early for the range of the Mag 7 to work out. Well, he does knock off half the HP on Tarek. Still is not going to get the kill. Now Phelps up close with the CZ, and nicely done! Gets 2 instant frags on Tarek and Nap, and now, with an AK in hand, picks up a third as well. Wants to go for the fourth, but Mixwell again. Powerful on these entry kills, swings out and takes down Phelps, prevents any more damage from being done. Fur attempts to work magic with the Deagle, but now with this being brought down to a 2v1, it's under the control still of OpTic here. Didn't get scary for a second there, though, with Phelps going off inside of the ladder room, but I think OpTic are reading this well now, and are just going back around those back holes, and will probably attempt to plant this on B. And Cold, as he doesn't really spot anything there. Tries to line himself up early for a flank, and actually OpTic, I said they were going to go B. That's actually wrong. They just
I think they saw him go up the ladder.
Did they?
That's why. I'm pretty sure they saw a pixel of him, because Rush was looking like exactly where he was. But, I mean, Rush is just a rock, man. I really think he's like one of the best players in North America. Every time I watch this guy play, he never messes up on these crucial frags. Like coming out of Ivy there, he easily could have got one deeked. He's very, very aware. On CT side, he holds his spot extremely well. On T side, he could clutch, he could entry, he could do every role but op. His op stinks. His pistol is good. Like, I'm telling you, this guy is so underrated, it's crazy.
Yeah, so with him being able to spot that back out and OpTic being able to get the successful plant here, coldzera, I don't think he's going to go for the retake. I think he's just more trying to hunt anyone that would try to evacuate out through like team mid or something like that. So no, he just waits this time out. And again, more than likely is going to end up just saving the AK since he misses both of the players from OpTic. Not necessarily a terrible round, though, for SK, considering that that was pretty much just like a half-buy / eco there. And they managed to pick up that many kills. But now going back onto the buy here, we need to start seeing some consistency and kind of full closeout of the half from them if they want to make sure they hold good chances going into the second half.
Yeah, and OpTic just, as individuals, playing very, very well and just getting like these kills at all the the points of contact. Ladder room, Ivy, and 4v5s all the time. OpTic's playing great. I mean, you got to remember they lost pistol too.
And they immediately kind of swung it back as soon as we saw gun runs from them, and it was like Mixwell that really showed up first off here with these crazy aggressive kills. And you even said that was going to happen too, with him wanting to make the plays. And well, it seems like they've been able to channel that pretty well, and he's coming out with so many of these crucial frags. Even in the last run there, we could see him turning around a little bit there after Fur was able to impact quite a bit, or excuse me, Phelps was able to impact quite a bit and try to make that a round for SK. But ultimately, OpTic did bring it back. Now again that they actually have the lead. Cold, though, waiting outside of Ivy's going to get his first battle, but there's Mixwell again. And with the op, just goes right up. Has a little tiny angle to work with, but it is enough to take down coldzera. Phelps mauling out the ladder room. They've been almost always pushing outside, too, so at the very least, SK are going to have that advantage to work with. The molly is not perfect, though. They still have the ability to, I think, smoke it back out there, or at least avoid the fire, and then just delay their push a little bit while the Ivy guys get prepped to move in. They've already started to push their way back out, and Phelps missed the Q on one of them. What's even worse, he peeks right into Mixwell as he gets a second kill, and because he misses that Q on the first player, now Rush and Naf were able to push forward, executing 2 more from SK and putting this down to a 1v5 as Taco is the one attempting to clutch it. And while they may find a Rush pushing forward towards Ivy since he's low HP, getting anyone else after he reveals himself is going to be the tough part. And well, what do you know? It's Mixwell again, peeking directly into more and more players from SK. He ends up with a 3K on the round.
I mean, another great round by OpTic. Just Mixwell going out Ivy, nice kill in the middle of Bomb Train. And SK, after winning Pistol, has only won 2 out of the last 9 rounds. They force buy here. Cold's able to get an off. They have 3 umps and a mag 7.
Mixwell again spotting a player early on here. He does get baited into the shot though, so they're going to reconfirm his positioning there and try to work against it. Naf though, still being able to find the first entry. Tarek unfortunately falls flat on his attempt to push forward, but Fallen actually is the one doing a lot of the legwork here for SK now to try and make sure that they do finally actually close out on an advantage. Taking down 2. Mixwell, however, is still alive, and he's been the dangerous one here for his team. Waiting to see if anybody will peek the short lane or even on the right side too. Fallen still veiled behind a smoke. And after not spotting anything, he'll fall back and let Naf try to go in first, or at least try to spot for some more intel on that side. A 2v3, certainly not unwinnable for these players. They still control the bomb. Mixwell still has his full utility kit to play with, but they need to find another frag here so that they can safely try to push out onto this site, because right now they're kind of stuck. Good nade, though, connects, but Fallen is still ready with the SMG, and it is going to take a Mixwell down, now leaving Naf alone to pull this off, and he won't even get one of the kills. It's SK closing out and battling back once again.
Yeah, finally winning one of those rounds where they just have those guys up close, but this time it wasn't just Phelps by himself. Actually, he was with for one of the rounds in ladder. But, you know, playing aggro outside with the umps, you pre-nade, you get close. OpTic kind of trying to force a play outside, you know, and that's, of course, what you don't want to do. That's the exact thing you don't want to do when you're playing against umps, because people like to go close mid.
Well, OpTic already proceeding forward here to try and look for a hit. This time towards inner, though. This is probably one of the only rounds where we've seen them go aggressively toward the inner right from the start of it. For the most part, they've actually been a little bit more quiet and just trying to play into these defaults. So boosting up on top there and trying to spot for any players that may be on the back trains. They're looking out. Naf, though, again, starting us off from over in the ladder room. That always seems to be the first point of contact for either squad. And this time it works into the favor of OpTic, because I think Phelps tried to push aggressively up the ladder there, and Naf was just able to punish it easily from the top side, taking him down and once again giving them a 5v4 advantage. No overall reaction just yet from OpTic, though. They're still taking it pretty slowly. Again, as they still have that minute to play with here. Specifically being very cautious, since it hasn't been an entirely uncommon thing to see 2 players from SK playing inside of the ladder room there. So just watching out for it here for a few extra seconds before finally giving up upon it and now trying to initiate the hit down there, as well as in the T-Con that we're seeing Jason R and 2 more of their own teammates push towards now. Tarek's even going to try to throw the fake towards inner too, but the problem is there's a lot of CTs waiting for him in here. They still have that full 2-player commitment, and while one of them was smoked off, Taco was waiting up on top. And now Fur playing close. He will not get anything. Rush taking him down. Mixwell finding another shot here. Fallen does hit the shot to trade out onto Rush here, but he's stuck in a Molotov, forced into the open. Misses his shot. Naf's going to punish that. And again, Taco left alone, but Mixwell just hits his head through the bomb train and ends the round for OpTic.
Tony, man, greatest IGL of all time. HLTV top 20 rankings, watch out. Cold, watch out for the #1 spot.
Jason R is coming for you.
Yep.
Yeah, so it is crazy all of a sudden, just this renewed confidence from OpTic, specifically from, you know, the players that lead the charge in a lot of these rounds, like Mixwell and whatnot, are showing up big time, and it's given them a guaranteed advantage coming out of the half for T side here. If they can make it 9-6, that'll be even better. And certainly with this type of a buy, it's looking good to make it that way. Tarek already finding Phelps. Fur's probably gonna try to aggress in. Tarek's still waiting for it though. They get him. Taco's in the back behind the boxes there. I think he's probably going to be able to escape. Still just trying to mess with him a little bit before he ends up giving back out and falling back to the site. They've even spotted Cold out here. They know he's going to be hopping around somewhere close to the bomb train. There's Jason R with the instant headshot against Cold Zera. And now it's a 5v2. And while Fallen is working on a flank through the Ivy push over there, probably going to wrap in towards T-Con in a moment here. Taco, they already should be aware that he's playing towards inner there once more. They'll just have to watch out for his rotate in a few moments. Fallen starting his own push back towards outside. They've even got Naf watching out for this one, and he's going to have no problem whatsoever dispatching a Fallen. So Taco with a 1v5, probably not the best odds to pull this off, and he's going to move right in, right into a headshot for Tarek, as he will end it. And it's OpTic Gaming, ladies and gentlemen, and a bit of a surprise here, actually, after they looked in such poor form over these past few weeks. That lead here against SK on Train, 9-6 will be the scoreline. Stick with us, in the second half will be coming up in just a few moments.
ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Logitech G, Pay Safeguard, Mountain Dew League, and ESEA.
Alright, and we are back once again. Ladies and gentlemen, here, our first match of the evening is off to an interesting start, as it's OpTic now with a stand-in IGL playing for them that's actually leading against, well, the team that won 2 majors in a row, formerly the #1 team in the world. It's SK, who also have a new player on the roster, but they've had plenty of time to adjust for him, and it, you know, going into this one, it looked like it was going to be a pretty clear victory for SK, but maybe not the case anymore, as OpTic has shown up, and they've had some quite impressive fragging power to start us off on their T side.
Yeah, well, with SK and the way they play, and this usually doesn't happen on LAN, but a lot of time online, especially with like 50 ping and stuff like that. Like I'll give you an instance. When Fallen was opping Ivy there, even though they had a nice peek from the right and the left, a lot of the reason that was successful was just because of the ping. Yeah. Like on LAN, even if they both peek like that, most likely Fallen probably kills at least one of them, and it's like a 4v4 instead of a 4v5. But one of the reasons OpTic was able to have a really good half wasn't just because of that, but some of the reason is kind of what happened with SK on Mirage, right? SK, they had the best Mirage in the world, right? But then they did like that double ramp setup, and people kind of caught on to how they played a little bit, and they got used to it, and they kind of, figured them out a little bit. And OpTic's played against SK on Train a lot, and SK has a lot of things that they like to do, and Phelps especially, and Phelps too, adding in Phelps, that you can kind of predict. You know where Fallen's going to be opping, right? You know Phelps loves to be in ladder. I mean, he was there like probably over half the rounds, I would say. You know they like to just run up lower ramp as fast as they can to try to get that early inner pick. You know that, what else? Like Taco, when he rotates, he always goes back lanes. You know that whenever you throw the 5-6 smoke, they always jump on top of the box and boost on the Ivy box. They boost cold up there. So like a lot of these little things, OpTic plays against them so much, and they know what they do, and it allows them to win rounds like that. Like that round, well, as they rush in, but go ahead, Blue.
Yep, they're going to be rushing towards the inner bomb site here. It's Fallen skating his way inside. Phelps will get the first kill onto Naf, and tries to proceed forward, but unfortunately just gets one tap there by Mixwell to take him down. Taco will have a trade for that one, though, but Tarek trades back, taking back down Taco. Cole trying to hold this close corner here, and he finds Rush. Fallen and Tarek trading blows again, but now it's just on Tarek, and he takes an aggressive angle, but it works out. Knocks out Fallen. The problem is, though, is that Fur's holding close towards upper, and he's got a Molotov. So this is rough. And in the meantime, Tarek doesn't even have the kit to play with, but Tarek knows he's close up now, so he tries to aggressively push, but Fur wins it out, and it's SK to take the second pistol.
Yeah, just a very, very fast interrush, and SK needed that pistol. But kind of what I was talking about is all those little things, Blue, a lot of them was OpTic just taking advantage of that. Like, trust me, when they did that double peek on Ivy, they knew Fallen was going to be there.
Yeah.
And that's why they took it so safely. Like, when Naf peeked Taco at lower, they knew that Taco likes to jiggle peek to save his nades and keep info like that. So a lot of those kills were because of that.
Nice shot from Fur, finding Tarek peeking up from the ticket box right at the get-go of the OpTic force-up investment here. OpTic going to try to trade, but Fur again just tapping away. Finds a second one now onto Rush here and making quick work of the OpTic attempt to force an upset on this second round. Although Nap and Mixwell trading back do even this back out. There's been good damage on all three of the remaining players from OpTic as they do try to knock out Taco. He ults for one before going down himself. Even once more into a 2v2 and both the OpTic players holding outside. But that doesn't matter for SK. They're still going to go directly for this play. And coldzera looking to sneak up around the bomb train and try to finish this off all in his lonesome here. Jason R moving up. He's trying to find the position to knock out Fallen. He won't be successful in it yet, but coldzera has successfully infiltrated the enemy base. And as he moves in, it's an easy shutdown on Jason R. Mixwell in the meantime had fallen back over, expecting that to be an inner hit, but now he's just completely locked himself out of the sight as the two remaining players will move in to plant the bomb.
Yeah, and when Mixwell was running back from Ivy, Cold actually heard him. So he knew that was going to be open. So this is going to be really difficult for Mixwell to...
Oh,
wow.
Gets that first one out of nowhere, but he is caught trading his pistol
What a shot,
out.
though.
That was insane.
Wow. Yeah, Mixwell is, to me, one of the most complete players in North America. I mean, he can do it all. Like his pistol, his deagle, scouting, opping, rifling. The only problem with Mixwell is at times, like remember we saw a couple last week on Overpass, is that he can get impatient and over-aggressive at times and try to do too much. So that's why I was a little worried when they had Jason R, because I figure a lot of the time you have a new in-game leader coming, you know, you probably don't have that much structure. A lot of the time those type of players, they do too much.
Yeah.
You know, they try to force the issue too much and they end up getting punished for it.
Well, Taco trying to force his way in towards upper right now. He does get a couple shots thrown against him. Obviously, OpTic just done a full save this round, so not expecting anything too fantastic. May be able to, with this interstack, though, drop a couple of guns at the very least. And, well, there's going to be one. coldzera going down. Jason R knocking out Taco. They did read into the fact that it was a B stack after that, though, so everybody pushed outer, and they're still going to get the plan. And now is when this gets pretty much impossible, more than likely, for OpTic. Although I say that, and they see another trade, bringing us down to a 3v2. And also still having Fur holding a flank over there on the top of ladder. If Fallen gets overwhelmed, then we don't see Fur moving into it. That could, in theory, lead to a quick defuse here. But Fallen, once again, just trying to waste as much time as possible from behind the bomb train. Getting one. Good damage onto his second. He almost just finishes off all three on his own, actually. Really well played by him there. As Fur also comes in for the assist at the very end. But he's going to be able to close out here, take out Jason R, and SK do indeed win out the round.
Yeah, and SK, you know, believe it or not, even after that first half, they're still in a fine spot. I mean, we've seen them, like, just have some of the most dominant T-sides on train, I think, of any team in the world. You know, maybe them in, like, Virtus Pro. Just sometimes they go very, very fast. I wouldn't be surprised if they do some type of a rush or a really bursty strat with, like, Molotovs and whatnot, as they do set up for outside smokes. But no, maybe it's more of a default. They have one towards Ivy, one watching T mid, three taking box hall control. So it's definitely more of a default setup. They kind of just throw those smokes outside, you know, maybe throw like a flash or whatever, 1-2 smokes, just to get them use their nades, you know, use their utility, maybe give up some type of positional advantage. Because, you know, when those nades come off, sometimes they smoke ladder, they smoke Ivy too. You know, and they kind of worry about something fast. And they burn a lot of that. And then it makes the end of the round a lot easier. You know, if they do want to go back to outside or, you know, for the post plan to enter or whatever.
Well, it's still slow from SK, though, as they run down the timer just below the minute mark. Mixwell getting himself into that early battle with Taco as he tries to push out, I believe, towards upper there. And we'll see Mixwell winning that one out with the op. He finds the first shot. The rest of SK, at least these two here, are going to follow through with trying to push towards inner. I imagine they'll wait, of course, for the two other teammates that are rotating out from T-Con to group up, but still is going to most definitely be an inner hit. And the problem is that they don't necessarily have the players close up to rotate just yet. A lot of them are shifting now, since there was also smokes on outer there that you can see, but it was in the favor of OpTic, so... Well, they do have Tarek sitting close up. The rest are going to be a few seconds away, which means Nap either has to just go all in here and pick up multi-frags. He lines up for some great damage, actually, and then he connects on 2 headshots back-to-back. Fur and Phelps both go down. coldzera trades as the first rotate comes in. That's on Jason R. Nap finding another kill, too. Mixwell still alive on the backside, however, but he's just playing patiently right now. Rush trying to sneak his way in. coldzera lined up perfectly for that, and now SK back in the advantage situation, but also the 2 remaining players from OpTic moving very quickly back in, and the nade is going to force Fall into the open. They take him down, and Tarek follows it up with a second one, too, to eliminate coldzera. It's another retake from OpTic, and we go right back into OpTic domination, as just like the last half, they win out the first gun round.
And they get the double off setup as well. I'm curious to see what SK's money is at, because they had a lot of casualties on those anti-ecos. And I would think they're going to buy here. They usually buy in situations like these, where they know if they win the round, they, you know, are going to have the lead round-wise, at least in the game. But Naf a little bit, you know, I mean, he did a great job killing those two guys through the smoke. Even though he did that, though, a little bit too over-aggressive. SK does full buy, so they get 2 scouts, 3 Tech 9s. I believe it's a full buy. A little bit over-aggressive by Naf, actually, to over-peek fall in there. I think if he stays alive at the pop dog, they really can't push up to his right? Because people are already out of Z. So they can only peek to his right from pop dog. They're not going to push the sidewalk. It's just not going to happen in that situation. So if he just stays alive there and sits behind there, they probably win that round like, you know, maybe 1 casualty instead of having 3 and putting themselves in a situation where if they lose this round, it's going to be bad.
Well, Tarek will be waiting first this time. It's no longer going to be Naf taking the contact. He's a little bit further back. Tarek, though, finding a quick 2 kills. Naf also found one as he wields the secondary up there, taking down Taco. So far, only Tarek has been traded back out. Naf just playing it back from behind this far train here. Obviously waiting for reinforcements to come back in so that they can cleanly just mop this one up. They got the plant. That was the worst gone away. Coldzera with a nice shot, though. Actually does find Rush early on here, and he tags a second. Now it's Fallen, though, and gets the quick scope onto Jason R. Unfortunately, Naf had flank behind him, and he is going to finish things off.
Yeah, and the exact same rounding to the round before, right? 2 alive on OpTic. They maintain the double up setup. SK gets the bomb down, and although they lose the round, they could still potentially buy. Yeah, so I'm almost positive they'll buy again. And they get another crack at it, right? OpTic's going to be full bot. SK will probably be full bot here. They're thinking about it. Nope. Just Eags. Scout. Just a light buy. Never mind. Disregard everything else.
All right, I'll just pass over that one.
This is dangerous, though. Falling on a scout is no joke.
Yeah, as we already saw in the last one, but it seems like Mixwell's more dangerous so far in this game. Tarek's ready for first, drop down into the ladder.
The only reason Mixwell gets that kill is because of Jason R. and his leadership.
He just laser read.
Yeah.
All right, guys, they're going here. I want you to play this position. He's 100% going to push. He's just macro controlling all 5 players from behind. Mixwell again sinking this shot on the Coldzera as he tries to surprise. Won't work out. He may even get himself another one too, but nope. Jason R and Rush do clean up house, and it's a full 5-man alive round for OpTic as they push on 12 here. Coming off the save, though, it's SK's next gun round.
I'm a bit surprised that SK actually didn't buy there, though. I mean, SK usually buys pretty aggressive, and they have a lot of clever things that they do. That's one of the reasons I thought OpTic was a really good team when they had Stan, is because a lot of those Tech 9 rounds, you know, where they have a Tech 9, a D, you know, 3 Tech 9s and a Scout or whatever, right? They were really clever, and they had really nice ways to win the round. It looks like SK is going to do something quick inner.
Yeah, already just rushing through the Whitehall, essentially, here. Slowing it down, though, when they get to the edge of it. I imagine to smoke off the ace a little bit, at least try to throw this partial fake. But definitely going to be heading more than likely towards inner, as we can see Naf waiting for it. He does unscope at the wrong moment, but I think he just spotted the barrel of the rifle from Phelps, so he's just going to fall back after he tosses in that smoke. Now, Phelps did get past it, and he knows that there's no one holding close up, otherwise he would have probably already been dead. Sees the play, though, picks up the second guy in the line there. That's Fur going down. Sees them close up to the bomb train, restraining his op shots, though, still able to get another kill and still alive as well. Finally ends up going down in his retreat against Coldzera, and we also saw Fallen picking up another kill. Unfortunately, he misses his second shot there as he attempts to take down Rush, pushing from Z. He'll have to smoke off the lane and mollying it out too to push Rush back. But in the meantime, we already had seen Jason R seeking into the site, but currently he's isolated. That's a bit dangerous. Tarek, though, capitalizes on the moment to flank things out here, but Coldzera up close is also going to be able to trade. And he also holds against Jason R too. Now it's a 2v1, but Tarek catches Coldzera jumping. Time's getting a little bit low though, so Tarek's got to get a move on. Looking for this last player. He's not able to spot Phelps, so from right behind the bomb train, he wins it out, and SK pick up a round.
Yeah, so they group up 5 inner, they throw a couple smokes from above the ladder, and then they just burst down. And one of the ways you're going to see SK take inner is usually when they take inner on train, they don't throw a million smokes, they use pretty limited utility. It's more of just get down and in your face as fast as possible, get Fallen posted up on lower or on the pop dog to kill any rotates, and even if the inner player takes out 2 of you, as long as Fallen or Cold is alive, and they're set up in a post-point situation with an op, or maybe one guy close up that could push up, they're gonna, you know, they're fine with winning a 2v4, you know?
Well, SK now still tailing from behind a little bit here, but they can very easily make the comeback if they can pick up a nice entry here on the outer bomb side and take full control of the site, and that's exactly what they're doing. Jason R attempts to trade, but he's only going to be able to get one, and I'm pretty sure that's going to trigger for a very early save call here as SK just waltz right in, and unfortunately OpTic around able to hold the outer bomb site.
Yeah, so SK getting back into it. Pretty quick outside play there. Not sure, wasn't, honestly, I was talking blue. Didn't see exactly how they set it up. But Fur just kind of ran out and killed somebody very quickly.
Yeah, I mean,
Phelps going on that train.
Quick entries, and they had it lined up with like 2 in the ladder room there as well, with the others kind of waiting behind inside of T-Con. So pretty standard attempt at it. Just like I said, the entries came in a little bit too quickly, and there wasn't enough trades for everybody else. Snap even getting caught slightly on the off angle there when Fallen pushes him, but he is still able to recover, saving that M4. And I don't think anyone else is close enough to challenge here. Keep in mind, again, the SK money still kind of on the edge at this point, so isn't necessarily going to be worth it to hunt down those frags just yet.
Yeah, and Mixwell able to save that off. He's having a really good game. I mean, so is Naf, right? 22-14, 23-13. A lot of kills on those two guys. And even though, I mean, look how many more kills OpTic has than SK, and look at the scoreline.
It's been incredibly close, but it's been OpTic fragging out a lot of these times, and OpTic just, or SK I should say, just able to round it back little bits, and they've been working off of a lot of the pistol round and follow-up round victories. It's actually amplifying their score quite a bit now, considering it. If OpTic had won one of these pistols, the scoreline would be drastically different, and they would probably have a much larger advantage.
That's true. They lost both pistols, huh? Completely forgot about that.
They didn't eco upset on any of the rounds
Yeah,
either. So it's SK has like a free 6 rounds coming off of that. So once again here, it's OpTic now trying to get a little bit more aggressive, and it's Mixwell being the one to try and make those plays as he pushes in a T-Con. The real question is if he's actually going to push outside, and it works out beautifully for him as he just finds Phelps looking away, trying to spot out for actually Ivy pressure. So looking for pressure, just in the wrong spot of the map, unfortunately. They did deal a little bit of damage to Tarek back over here on the outside of ramp, but now as they push back in, Mixwell actually misses the shot, but oh, I was about to say, somehow was going to get away. Mixwell and Nap both going down, however, but they don't count for behind the spindle, so Tarek getting one and the second, and Taco's already lit. Taco's going to be able to trade that out, however, but now he's alone in a 1v2. Where's the bomb? As he's trying to look out from the floor here and see if he can scavenge anything to play with. The bomb on the other side of the train. That's actually going to be a pretty long walk. So he's hoping that he can find someone peeked up from Z, but in taking that duel, he exposes himself as well. And that allows for Rush to shut it down and OpTic to pick up the round.
Basically like a 3-man inner stack there. As soon as Mixwell got that kill at T mid, he was predicting that they were going inner. He literally runs from T middle all the way to Z and was actually the first contact in inner. And they, you know, it kind of rolled the SK guys to sleep, right? You have a guy Z, you have a guy site that you killed. You're never going to expect somebody spinning on that situation. Like, it's just not going to happen. So that really opened up things for Tarek, and great job by Tarek because he killed the 2 high HP players too. I mean, talk about like 20 HP. He's the one that lives. That's like best case scenario if you're going to get 2, right?
The positioning just worked out perfectly for him too with the way that those players do end up lining up. So nicely done for him. And now SK, well, since obviously going towards the interplay again doesn't really work out, Mixwell's just going to get run over. And it's the same result for Naf. After they pull that off, well, the guys that were on top of ladder are just going to head towards inner and they can smoke this off. The little smoke train they had leading up to the Z area actually works out great for them as they just sneak their way in, completely overwhelm 2 of the CT players, and now they don't even have a route back into that site right now. It's going to be a full 5-man hold for a retake. Fur may find himself getting a tad over-aggressive, though, as the smoke will start to fade away. Jason R is just patiently kind of sitting back and waiting for this with the Deagle in hand, catching one. But thankfully, that's just the bait, as Fur is able to immediately trade that back out. And these last 2 remaining are going to get pushed upon here. Rush able to find one of them, although I don't think that's going to actually give them what they need to push back into the site. Still sitting outside here and wanting to save their rifles and let SK get a 12th round.
Yeah, and those are the rounds I'm talking about with SK. Like, they win those rounds. That was a clever play by them. They fake like it's a normal outside take, but 2 of them go through Z. They just bomb flashes, get through Z. Tarek CT Heaven, you can't even see him pushing through the smokes. Mixwell gets caught off guard, goes down, and the round's over before it even really started, right? And just a a clever way again. And that's a lot of the time what you need to do to win these Tech 9 rounds. You need to have like those clever plays. And you also need the skill set to be really good in those chaotic environments. And SK has Phelps, Fur, Taco, all Fallen, super good in those chaotic environments, right? And then Cold always just closing out the round. So
the really good news for SK here as well is that they've created a really kind of toxic buying environment for OpTic. You can see the buy. They're just completely unable to stabilize because they keep winning and losing these rounds. So they're just barely keeping enough to justify a force buy, but you can see just how limited it is now. Smokes that haven't already been used, they're down to 2 of those, 2 HE grenades. They don't really have a lot, and Naf's working with a CZ along with the 2 UMPs that they're playing with. Now they're going to attempt to make up for this by playing close up to ladder room here and just taking the direct contact on SK before they can even get any sight control. But if any of those guys fail, the round is over right from the start of it. And it's going to be another round for SK. And there you go, Taco already finding Naf in his aggressive position, pushed up the ramp there. There is one more. It's Mixwell over here in the back of upper, but he does give up his position to try and actually play for the site now.
yeah, now we see OpTic getting in their aggro outside positions that we continually saw from SK on that first half. Rush just right in the ladder room, Tariq at E-box, but what's weak right now is inner, because there's one player at inner. Who is that? Tariq's now going to rotate towards him to make it a little bit stronger, but you know, whenever you're up close outside like that, like the rotate's really bad unless you want to risk going up the ladder, but obviously going up the ladder, really easy kill if anybody's just watching it.
The flash is coming. Rush is going to get challenged, but he gets 1, he gets 2, he gets 3! Nicely done from Rush as SK just goes right into him. And now Fallen's going to have to try to clutch this one out. Jason R just took down his last remaining teammate. A good flick indeed on the Mixwell, but he's also going to have to worry about Rush, who still sits inside. Attempts to go for the quick scope onto him, but it won't happen. And Rush ends up with a massive 4K on the round.
I'm telling you, man, like most underrated player in North America is Rush.
So nicely played from here, and SK, unfortunately, their strat goes right into the Hornet's nest that is Rush, and he just lines up those kills one by one by one. And that puts OpTic right back into their own good graces in terms of an economy, and it also re-breaks SK, as we can see them forcing into this here. Tech 9's Galil, and Taco doesn't even get himself a Tech 9, just on a P250.
Yeah, this is like as broken as it gets for a buy for SK, and I hate the glue. This is my like least favorite gun.
It's a terrible gun for you.
It's terrible.
So they all push together here towards what's going to be more than likely another inner hit. And this has been where actually things haven't really worked out too well for them. Too many successful retakes from the OpTic side. Honor's definitely been the site where they've been able to penetrate a lot better more often than not, and actually succeed in winning out the post plan as well. I've seen so many retakes from OpTic here towards the inner bomb site, so this will be a bit of a risk here now, but at the very least they should be able to guarantee the plant with all the utility that they brought this time. Mixwell, as you can see, isn't being able to really spot anything, but the smoke isn't perfect, so he can just go right up on top of the railing, gets 1, takes a risk in going for the second one here. Will he go for a 3rd? He does, and that's, you know, finally going to lead to his death right there. Kind of his own fault to keep speaking into that. Fur grabbing that kill. Phelps trying to wait this out though, but Tarek actually bailing his teammate out as it was looking like the T was going to win out the duel there. Tarek just going off. He ends up with a 3K before he finally goes down to Coldzera, but Coldzera with that 1v4 just really not able to clutch that out with only a Tech 9. So it's OpTic now going up to 15 rounds.
15 rounds and SK's buy is not going to be good. I mean, they don't really have much in losing bonus. They've only lost 2 rounds in a row. Yeah, they're going to get the 800 for the bomb plant, but I mean, look at that. That's just a terrible buy.
It's going to be actually really similar to what we just saw, with probably a little bit more utility and maybe, you know, a couple more Galils, maybe a couple UMPs, but we'll see it in a second here. As again, Tarek ended up going off here. Nearly saving his teammate too that was trying to rotate through Z. Even gets this 3rd kill before you can see there Coldzera finally peeks out from the bomb train and takes him down. So he's the hero of that round and prevents SK from upsetting, and yeah, we can see it. A single AK for Coldzera, another Galil sitting on Fur, but it is 3 Tech 9s with utility beyond that. And they will try to isolate Mixwell from being able to spot this this early push towards the back calls there, just so he doesn't get the early read as to this really heavy push. Obviously, again, it's a default split, so they're not really going to be able to spot it. It's not going to be a huge advantage for them just yet. And OpTic back into playing a kind of default here, only leaving Naf as the player in towards B, as Mixwell's already started to rotate back out. all really quiet as SK are going to look to try and pressure Ivy. It should be noted too that that's really an area that for the most part SK haven't tried to use, and this initial smokes that go out from the back halls here does work out for them. And what's even better is that they take down Jason R and Ivy. Now where's the follow-up though, because they did keep the bomb on top of the ladder rim there to kind of act as an in-between point with no pressure on T-Con. OpTic have been easily allowed to push back in there. They've got Ivy control, that's great, but now they also have to kind of retake T-Con and be able to push back in there as well. So 45 seconds left, still leaving themselves plenty of time, but OpTic are ready for this hit. As Fur leads over here towards T-Con, with the rest of his teammates stacking with him. In they will go, leaving them only about 30 seconds to get control of the site. Rush watching out. He only expected one to be there, though, so he turns his back to it. And now, Tarek's just in a really bad spot. He still gets one kill, however, but evenly traded again, and it does still lead to SK having the advantage. They spot Naf over here in Hell. He's going to swing it up towards Heaven to keep himself alive right now, and taking the battle. They already know he's up there, and Phelps can just patiently wait. If he tries to drop back down, he should be able to actually handle this, but yeah, there you go. There's the closing upon Naf, and they even know that Mixwell's lurking up from the other tunnel. He's got a 1v3 set against him. Got the one, two more to go as they plant the bomb, and he's just going for this with a pistol. But Taco is indeed going to have the better of him with a Tech 9. And SK fight back with a little bit of life here, 13-15. And OpTic's money still really not looking too great either.
Yeah, very back and forth with the economy this game. Not quite to the extent that like Complexity in Cloud9 was last week, but
yeah.
but I mean, a lot of you know, bot rounds where you don't have like full utility, you're probably not fully comfortable. I think that's the mark of like really good teams. I think that's why I consider SK, you know, to be one of the best teams in the world, is because when you're a really good team, you really need to know how to win with Tech 9s, how to win with broken buys, how to add a Mag 7 into your normal setup and make it successful. And they're so good at that.
Yeah, we can see this round, unfortunately, not leading to all that much success for OpTic here. Just a shooting gallery for players like Phelps and Fur going for the direct peeks onto outside. And Phelps even spotting another one. Won't be able to get Naf, but it's of little consequence. All this does allow is for both the OpTic players to kind of group up here. Fur even going forward, claims his second on the round, once for the third, but Rush is going to be able to really just finish off Fur, following though, re-peeking into the short lane and putting an end to that round. So it goes to round number 30 to decide it, and even with OpTic getting the reinvestment here, because their money was such a weird spot, you can see how odd this buy is going to be. It's not terrible, obviously. Naf still being the inner player is obviously just going to have to try and stick up close. Towards the ramp there, more than likely. Mixwell still has his op. The only real big downgrade you see is Tarek going to FAMAS, but they still have utility and everything. They're going to be missing Molotovs, which could hurt them a little bit in the post plants here. But obviously SK is going to slow down themselves, and maybe a little bit more time to be able to spot this and just immediately counter it out, as we have seen quite a few times from OpTic in this half.
Yeah, Fur with quick ladder control, Cold watching the inner push very, very passively, along with Taco on that stairwell. Shoot towards Ivy. So team mid is open right now. That's going to be something that they're going to have to you know, figure out and look for if they're SK. OpTic just all playing around the bomb train essentially. So we see a little bit of movement though coming out from Rush. He recognizes like the setup isn't, you know, really optimal if they hit outside, so he kind of goes to help Ivy a bit, playing around that green train.
And again, we have the possible pressure from SK towards Ivy there too, which worked out for them really well. But that worked out when they had a 3-stack of players pushing towards it, and this time it's really only going to be Phelps trying to aggress inside. Still with smokes in check, OpTic are going to be able to delay it for a little bit longer here, as you can see now, but they're also running out of smokes themselves to use on a retake scenario, or obviously when these do finally start to fade away. SK though moving outside of the White Halls, leaving Fur in the ladder room. The remaining players getting ready to deploy their own smokes for the outer hit, as they will just go for the default on the 30th round, the final round of regulation. And OpTic will have to try and hold against it without really getting a chance to spot this. Jason R is caught tossing at a flashbang there. He's going to fall back, and that lets Phelps in. He's going to be able to pick up the first kill. Mixwell misses his own first shot from on top. He is able to convert it, though, on his second, but now it's letting him up close to the bomb train. He's not really focused on aggressive kills anymore. He's trying to make sure his teammate just doesn't get immediately flanked back out there. With the smoke, though, he does have to back up here. And also, with the Molotovs, it sends a lot of the bomb train players further back. The good news is, though, is that Naf was able to quickly flank and picks up the kill with a shotgun. The AK is out of reach, so when he tries to go for it, Fallen trades, but Tarek is back into it now. It's a 3v1 in the favor of OpTic. Fallen trying to hold, gets the first kill, but now down at 7 HP. Still trying to play around with that train, but the bomb is already being defused. The full 10-second one. He needs to go for this peak, but Mixwell is going to be able to close out. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, it's OpTic Gaming that take control of the first map here tonight. 16-14 is going to be the final score, and wow, what a showing that was from OpTic, especially on their T side. Some very impressive performances from Naf, Mixwell, and the others as well.
And I mean, not only do they win, but they lost both pistols, like you pointed out. They lost both pistols, and they beat SK on Train, who's arguably, you know, the best train team in the world. I mean, it's debatable now, you know, now that they have felt. I think FNX was like one of their best players on Train, believe it or not. Like, he was incredible on that CT side around that bomb train. And now they're in a different look on that CT side with Phelps continually pushed up. He's going to be around E-Box. He's going to be inside ladder. It's going to be a different look. We'll see how it works into that setup. But, you know, against OpTic, just didn't fare very well.
All right, so with that upset occurring, we are going to bring in the analysis deck to the conversation now. Guys, what do you make of that? OpTic Gaming, who were looking terrible just a week ago, now all of a sudden winning a map against SK.
Well, SK has been stopped. This is not an undefeated season for SK Gaming anymore at this time, taking their first L tonight against OpTic, and pretty much
doing it in a convincing fashion as well.
I mean,
Yeah, this was not a slouch. It's like they both mentioned on the caster panel over there, the fact that OpTic lost both pistols. You're not supposed to win best of ones when you lose both pistols. That's just not how CS normally works.
in all reality, this OpTic Gaming team, I'll give it to him because I think we both wrote him off as dead in the barrel for these matchups tonight against SK, but able to come out there in 16-14.
Super impressive. Super impressive, and obviously not the most you know, extremely complicated T side coming out of them, but you know, just doing things in a proper manner, playing 2-1-2s for the better part of their T sides. I think they did a really good job, especially Naf in towards Pop Dog, constantly being able to find Phelps, who was playing too aggressive for his own good. We talked about, you know, how Furs found that sweet spot. Phelps not quite there yet, and same thing with Coldzera, not having the same usual I guess performance in Ivy on that CT side as we normally see out of him. And obviously that opens up a ton of map control for OpTic, and they're able to actually take advantage of it.
Let's take a look now at round 25. We saw SK go deep into the playbook for something a little bit older. Talk to it, Vendetta.
It's a bit older, so they're going to set up the smokes for outer, and this is going to smoke out the bomb train. Normally, people expect this to be a strategy to choose simply to get the bomb plant down, and they're going to be happy with this. But instead, you have SK pushing two people right into connector with a pop flash, and that's going to catch out Mixwell. In addition to that, they get the bonus of Nap as well, who's already rotating out towards the yard. And this is something that SK don't really utilize a lot. I think the first time we saw them use it was at MLG Columbus, but both times I've seen it coming out of them, it's been successful. So, you know, 100% win rate, not a bad go-to move when you're, you know, with your back against the wall.
Yeah, 100% win rate usually means good things.
Yeah,
bodes
exactly.
well for the future.
But it's really cool because it's a different take on it, because every team is so basically used to seeing those smokes pop down and knowing what the normal occurrence is. You know, you see the smokes, know that somebody's going to be smoking, and then it's a matter of making the decision, okay, are you going to push through the smokes to deny the bomb plant or not? But SK pretty much playing off of the fact that they know most teams would expect that, and therefore pushing in with the pop flash into connector almost always nets them a beneficial trade.
So in this scenario though, right, so it happened.
Yeah.
SK loses to OpTic. What was really firing for OpTic here? What really came together for them?
I mean, a lot of things. First off, individually, they played really, really well. Naf, obviously, and Pop Dog finding so many openings there on Phelps to start things off on the T side, but I think Mixwell, too, deserves this massive shout-out for how he was playing. Not only was he able to find the picks on Coldzera and Ivy, but he was able to find just some crazy connections just all over the map, really. It didn't really matter where you put him. He was able to find some sort of opening for his team. That also, you know, went into the second half as well. Naf doing an excellent job playing that inner bomb site. And we saw last time OpTic played Train in EPL, they had massive struggles because Peacemaker was playing that inner bomb site. He was not able to stop anything at all. And even though in OpTic, this time they didn't necessarily put Naf alone, he had Mixwell over there quite a few times as well to back him up, because SK showed you know, heavy pressure towards inner. Naf was able to find that key first or second frag a lot of the time, which is all you really need. Only one time really SK was allowed to actually push forward, and that's the one round they win on that inner bomb site.
Well, we even did see Mixwell kind of take that into his own hands at some point.
Oh yeah, he was an absolutely madman. And but you know what kind of player Maxwell can be, especially when he gets going with that op. And we saw it on Overpass last time they played last week. The fact that he can't get over eager in that sense and try to do too much. This time he found that sweet spot, and again, you know, when he's hitting his shots, he does incredible things.
Well, to continue to do incredible things, maybe OpTic will, maybe they won't. We're going to go to a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to have the second BO1 between SK and OpTic, but we're going to go to Inferno. We'll be right back.